The mop handle slipped from Luna's oil-stained fingers as the klaxon alarm shattered the pre-dawn silence at Nellis Air Force Base. She had been scrubbing hydraulic fluid from beneath the landing gear of F-35 tail number 1127 when the base-wide alert erupted, sending maintenance crews into control chaos around her. No transponder, no IFFF, just 4 ghost signatures diving straight toward the most classified airspace in North America. Orders were immediate. Scramble all available aircraft weapons hot, rules of engagement authorized. But in the rush to launch interceptors, no one noticed a woman in coveralls who stopped cleaning and started calculating intercept vectors in her head with the precision of someone who had done this dance before. Welcome to Those Who Left a Trace, where we uncover the extraordinary stories hidden behind ordinary faces. Before we dive into this incredible tale of identity and redemption, tell us in the comments what city you're watching from today. And if you believe that some secrets are worth keeping until the moment they're needed most, hit that subscribe button and join our community of storytellers. At 0547 hours, Staff Sergeant Marcus Webb burst through the doors of squadron operations at Nellis Air Force Base, his voice cutting through the morning briefing like a blade. We got multiple contacts, bearing 045, altitude 35,000 feet, speed Mach 1.4 and climbing. No squawk, no radio contact, no flight plan on file. Lieutenant Colonel Sarah Viper Chun, commanding officer of the 422nd Fighter Squadron, stood rigid before the tactical display as red symbols appeared on the screen like digital threats materializing from nowhere. For aircraft, flying in tight combat formation, cutting through restricted military airspace with the kind of precision that suggested hostile intent. Time to intercept? Chun demanded, her eyes locked on the advancing contacts. 11 minutes if we launch immediately, Webb replied, sweat beading on his forehead despite the air-conditioned operations center. But ma'am, we have a problem. Alpha Flight is down for scheduled maintenance. Bravo Flight lost 2 birds to hydraulic failures during pre-flight, and Charlie Flight is still inbound from red flag exercises at Groom Lake. Chun felt her stomach drop. The mathematics of air combat were unforgiving. For unknown hostiles approaching sensitive installations, and her squadron was scattered across 3 states with only 2 immediately available aircraft. In the world of air superiority, being outnumbered 2-1 was the difference between mission success and catastrophic failure. "What's the status of our backup aircraft?" she asked, though she already suspected the answer would compound their problems. Technical Sergeant Rodriguez stepped forward with a tablet displaying maintenance logs. "Ma'am, Hangar 7 has 3 additional F-35s, but they haven't completed post-maintenance check flights. We're looking at minimum 90 minutes before they're mission-capable according to standard protocols." Through the reinforced windows of the Operations Center, Chun could see the flight line erupting into organized chaos. Ground crews sprinted between aircraft conducting emergency pre-flight inspections, while pilots suited up with a mechanical precision that separated elite aviators from weekend warriors. Among the controlled pandemonium, a lone figure in faded maintenance coveralls continued working methodically beneath one of the grounded Lightning fighters, apparently oblivious to the crisis developing around her. "Launch whatever we have," Chin ordered, her voice carrying the authority of someone who had made life-and-death decisions in skies above 3 different continents. "Full weapons load, rules of engagement package Alpha. I want those interceptors airborne in 6 minutes." Major Rick Gunslinger Hayes and Captain Lisa Fury Martinez, the only 2 pilots with immediately available aircraft, sprinted toward their F-35s with the purposeful urgency that combat readiness demanded. Their pre-flight checks would be abbreviated, their takeoff immediate, their odds of success against 4 unknowns mathematically questionable. Control, Alpha 1 requesting immediate clearance for combat takeoff. Hayes' voice crackled to the tower frequency as his F-35's Pratt and Whitney F-135 engines spun to operational power. Alpha 1. Cleared for immediate departure runway 21 left. Wind 080 at 12 knots. Visibility unlimited. Your weapons hot. Repeat, weapons hot. As the two F-35s screamed down the runway with afterburners painting blue flames against a Nevada desert backdrop, Chin watched through binoculars as a maintenance worker finally emerged from beneath the grounded aircraft. The woman stood slowly, wiping hydraulic fluid from her hands, and for just a moment Chin caught something in her posture that triggered a memory she couldn't quite place. Webb, who's that maintenance tech working on aircraft 1127? Webb consulted his personnel roster, squinting at the small text. Luna Vasquez, ma'am. Contract maintenance specialist. Been here about 8 months. Excellent work record. Keeps to herself. No disciplinary issues. The name meant nothing to Chun, but something about the way the woman moved, the way she scanned the horizon with the automatic threat assessment of a trained pilot, nagged at her consciousness like a half-remembered dream. Control. Alpha 1 has visual contact with unknowns. Hayes' voice cut through the radio static. For aircraft, unusual configuration, not matching any known friendly platforms. They're different, Control. Advanced airframe design, possibly experimental technology. Chin grabbed the tactical radio, her training overriding the growing dread in her stomach. Alpha 1, what's your assessment? Hostile intent confirmed. Negative, Control. They're maintaining formation but haven't taken any aggressive actions. However, they're jamming our radar systems. I'm getting partial locks only, and my data link keeps cycling offline. The tactical display confirmed Chen's worst fears. The blue symbols representing her aircraft were flickering intermittently as electronic warfare systems disrupted their communications and targeting capabilities. Meanwhile, the 4 red contacts continued their relentless approach toward the heart of Area 51's most sensitive installations. Alpha 1, you are cleared to close and identify. Weapons tight until hostile intent is confirmed, but be prepared for immediate engagement authorization. As Hayes and Martinez maneuver for intercept, Chin noticed increased activity around Hangar 7. The maintenance worker had moved to one of the supposedly unserviceable F-35s and appeared to be conducting some kind of systems evaluation. Through her binoculars, Chin watched in growing confusion as the woman's hands moved over the aircraft's controls with the fluid precision of someone intimately familiar with every switch, button, and display. Rodriguez, what's the actual status of those backup aircraft in Hangar 7? Rodriguez consulted his maintenance logs, his expression shifting from routine bureaucracy to genuine confusion. Ma'am, according to the paperwork, they need additional systems checks before flight certification. But what, Sergeant? Well, ma'am, that contract tech Luna, she's been working on those birds for the past month. And honestly, some of the work she's done is beyond what most of our certified technicians could accomplish. She seems to understand these aircraft better than people who've been working on them for years. Chun felt a chill run down her spine as she watched Luna complete what appeared to be a comprehensive pre-flight inspection with the systematic thoroughness that marked experienced aircrew. Her movements were economical, practiced, exactly like those of a seasoned pilot preparing for combat operations. Control, Alpha 1. These bogies aren't just advanced. They're using tactics I've never seen before. They're splitting into pairs, maintaining electronic jamming, and they seem to be probing our response patterns. Chen's tactical experience translated Hayes' report into stark reality. The unknown aircraft weren't just trespassing through restricted airspace. They were conducting sophisticated intelligence gathering operations against America's most classified military installations. Alpha 1, you are weapons free. Repeat, weapons free. Engage at your discretion. Roger, Control. Alpha 1 engaging. Fury, take the trailing pair. I've got the leaders. The tactical display erupted into a complex dance of blue and red symbols as the engagement began. Chun watched her 2 pilots attempt to bring their weapons to bear against targets that seemed to anticipate every tactical move with supernatural precision. Control, Alpha 1. They're jamming everything. Radar, data link, even our IFFF systems. These aren't conventional aircraft, and they're using technology one don't recognize. Chin made a decision that would either save the installation or end her career. Rodriguez, get me a direct line to Hangar 7. I want to talk to Luna Vasquez immediately. As Rodriguez established a communication link, Chun continued watching through her binoculars as Luna completed her inspection and began what appeared to be an engine startup sequence. The F-35 systems came online one by one, each activation performed with precision of someone who had done this thousands of times before. Hangar 7, this is wing operations. Put Luna Vasquez on the line immediately. Static filled the channel for several seconds before a voice responded, calm and controlled despite the chaos erupting around the base. This is Luna. Go ahead, Control. Chun felt her suspicions crystallize into certainty. The voice carried an authority that no maintenance worker should possess, the controlled tone of someone accustomed to making critical decisions under extreme pressure. Luna, I need to know your actual qualifications. We have a developing situation, and I need every available resource. Another pause, longer this time, filled with the sound of aircraft systems powering up in the background. When Luna's voice returned, it carried a weight that suggested years of experience in situations exactly like this one. Control, Aircraft 1127 is fully mission capable. All systems green, weapon systems operational, fuel load complete. She's ready for immediate launch if you need her. The technical precision of the response sent ice through Chen's veins. Luna wasn't just familiar with the aircraft. She was speaking with the confidence of someone qualified to fly it in combat. Luna, step away from that aircraft immediately. I need to speak with you face to face. Ma'am, with respect, we don't have time for that. Your northern intercept is being systematically degraded by electronic warfare, and you need additional aircraft airborne immediately. Chen stared through her binoculars as Luna's hands continued moving over the F-35 startup sequence with practiced efficiency. The aircraft's mission systems came online in perfect sequence. Each activation performed according to procedures that were classified above most maintenance personnel's clearance level. Webb, run a deep background check on Luna Vasquez. I want everything we have, and I want it now. Webb's fingers flew over his keyboard, accessing personnel databases with increasing frustration. Ma'am, this is unusual. Her employment file shows 8 months at Nellis, but before that there's a 7-year gap. Everything prior to her current assignment is marked classified, requires clearance levels above my access. Chun felt pieces of a complex puzzle beginning to align in ways that defied logical explanation. Get me someone with higher clearance. Use emergency protocols if necessary. Control, Alpha 1. We're being painted by targeting radar. These bogies are definitely hostile, and they're using technology that's defeating our defensive systems. The engagement was deteriorating rapidly. Hayes and Martinez were fighting against opponents who seemed to possess not just technological superiority, but tactical knowledge that allowed them to anticipate and counter every American move. Luna, Chen called over the hangar communication system. I need to know who you really are. The F-35's engines began their startup sequence, the characteristic high-pitched whine building toward operational power. Luna's voice came through the communication system once more, and this time Chen heard something that made her question everything she thought she knew about the woman in maintenance coveralls. Control, my name is Lieutenant Colonel Luna Phoenix Ramirez, former commanding officer of the 65th Aggressor Squadron. I've been operating under deep cover for the past 7 years. The hangar erupted in shocked silence as maintenance crews stopped their work to stare at the F-35. Chun felt her world tilt as memories crashed back like a tidal wave. Phoenix, the legendary pilot who had disappeared during a classified mission over hostile territory, presumed killed in action, posthumously awarded the Distinguished Flying Cross. That's impossible, Chen whispered into her radio. Phoenix died during Operation Ghostwalk. Negative control. Phoenix went dark to protect ongoing operations. The mission required complete operational security, so Luna Ramirez officially died in that crash. But right now, you need a pilot more than you need explanations. Webb looked up from his console, his face pale with shock. Commander, I just accessed the classified files with emergency authorization. Luna Vasquez is a cover identity for Lieutenant Colonel Luna Ramirez, call sign Phoenix. She's been operating under deep cover for national security reasons that are still classified above my clearance level. Chen stared at the F-35 as its system completed startup, the aircraft now fully operational and ready for combat. One of the most decorated fighter pilots in Air Force history was sitting in her hangar, requesting permission to save the installation. Control, Alpha 1, we're taking heavy electronic attack. Weapon systems are cycling offline, and I'm losing radar lock continuously. We need backup immediately. Phoenix, Chen said, using the call sign that had once struck fear into the hearts of enemy pilots across 3 different theaters of operation. Are you requesting permission to return to active flight status? Negative, Control. I'm requesting permission to do my job. The tactical display showed Hayes and Martinez fighting a losing battle against opponents whose capabilities exceeded anything in the American inventory. Chun had less than 5 minutes to make a decision that could determine whether classified installations fell into enemy hands. Phoenix, you are cleared for immediate launch. Call sign Alpha 3, tactical frequency 362.7. Weapons free upon positive identification of hostile intent. Copy Alpha 3. Phoenix is coming back online. The F-35 rolled out of Hangar 7 with mechanical precision, Luna's hands moving over the controls with muscle memory that 7 years of hiding hadn't diminished. As the aircraft reached the runway threshold, Chen realized she was witnessing the return of a legend whose supposed death had been carefully orchestrated to protect secrets that still couldn't be revealed. Alpha 3 Tower. You are cleared for immediate takeoff. Runway 21 right. Emergency authorization. All flight restrictions lifted. The F-35 accelerated down the runway with authority that spoke of thousands of hours in similar aircraft. Its single F-135 engine producing 43,000 pounds of thrust that pressed Luna back into her seat with familiar force. As the aircraft lifted off, she felt 7 years of careful anonymity fall away like a discarded mask. Control, Alpha 3 airborne and climbing. Requesting vector to engagement area. Chen's voice came through crystal clear, carrying relief that was impossible to hide. Alpha 3, vector 045 for northern contacts. Be advised, Alpha 1 and 2 are heavily engaged and experiencing significant electronic warfare degradation. Luna banked northeast, her aircraft climbing rapidly toward the ongoing engagement. Through her heads-up display, she could see the data link symbols representing Hayes and Martinez flickering intermittently as their systems struggled against sophisticated jamming. Alpha 1, Alpha 3, Phoenix is on station. What's your tactical situation? Hayes' voice came through garbled with static and electronic interference. Alpha 3, these bogies are using technology I've never seen. They're anticipating our every move, and their electronic warfare capabilities are beyond anything in our threat library. Luna analyzed the tactical display, noting the movement patterns of the 4 unknown aircraft with a professional assessment that had made her legendary. Their formation discipline was perfect. Their electronic warfare coordination suggested advanced training, and their aircraft performance exceeded known capabilities of any hostile nation. Alpha 1, Alpha 3, recommend you an Alpha 2 break off to minimum engagement range and maintain defensive posture. I'm going to probe their response patterns. Alpha 3, these aren't training targets. They're using lethal force and advanced technology. Copy, Alpha 1. I understand the threat. Phoenix is engaging. Luna pushed her F-35 into a high-speed climb that brought her above the engagement area, positioning herself to observe the unknown aircraft from an advantageous position. Through her sensor suite, she began to understand what Hayes had encountered. The 4 aircraft weren't just advanced. They were utilizing tactics and technology that suggested either a breakthrough in enemy capabilities or something else entirely. Their electronic warfare systems were sophisticated beyond anything she had seen during her years of classified operations. Control, Alpha 3. I'm reading unusual energy signatures from these contacts. Their propulsion systems don't match any known aircraft configuration. Chen's voice crackled through the communication system. Alpha 3, what's your assessment? Are we dealing with experimental enemy technology? Luna studied her sensor readouts, comparing what she was seeing with everything she had learned during 7 years of deep cover operations involving foreign military technology. The aircraft below her weren't just advanced. They were operating according to principles that challenge her understanding of conventional aerospace engineering. Control Alpha 3. These aren't enemy aircraft in any conventional sense. I'm reading propulsion signatures that don't match any known technology, and their flight characteristics are beyond current aerodynamic limitations. Alpha 3 explained. Luna watched as one of the unknown aircraft executed a turn that should have been impossible at its current speed and altitude, defying both physics and her understanding of aircraft capabilities. Control. These aircraft are performing maneuvers that would generate G-forces fatal to human pilots. Either they're unmanned systems using technology decades ahead of our current capabilities, or... She paused, unwilling to voice the alternative explanation that was forming in her mind. Or what, Alpha 3? Or we're dealing with something that isn't entirely human in origin. The communication channel fell silent as the implications of Luna's assessment sank in. Below her, the 4 unknown aircraft seemed to recognize her presence, their formation shifting into a pattern that suggested tactical awareness of her arrival. Alpha 1, Alpha 2, this is Alpha 3. Break off immediately and return to base. I'm taking over the engagement. Alpha 3, we can't abandon you against 4 hostiles. Alpha 1, this is a direct order. RTB immediately. Phoenix has this. As Hayes and Martinez reluctantly disengaged and turned back toward Nellis, Luna found herself alone in the sky with 4 aircraft that represented either humanity's greatest technological leap or something far more extraordinary. The unknown contact seemed to acknowledge her willingness to engage alone, their formation shifting once again into something that suggested communication. Control Alpha 3. The bogies are responding to my presence differently than they did to Alpha 1 and 2. They've ceased their electronic warfare attacks and appear to be attempting some form of contact. Alpha 3, maintain defensive posture. Do not approach within weapons range. Luna studied her heads-up display as new symbols appeared, symbols that weren't part of any human aircraft identification system she had ever seen. The 4 contacts were transmitting data, using protocols that her F-35 computers couldn't interpret, but somehow seemed designed to convey peaceful intent. Control, I'm receiving transmissions that don't match any known communication protocols. The data streams are complex, but appear to be non-hostile in nature. Alpha 3, what are your orders? Luna made a decision that would either validate her legendary status or end her life in the skies above Nevada. Control, I'm going to attempt communication. If something happens to me, tell the world that Phoenix died doing her job. She adjusted her radio to an emergency frequency and transmitted a message that combined military protocol with hope that whatever was controlling those aircraft possessed some understanding of human communication. Unknown aircraft. This is United States Air Force Alpha 3. You are in restricted airspace. Please identify yourself and state your intentions. For several seconds, only static filled the channel. Then, impossibly, a voice responded, not electronically synthesized, but unmistakably intelligent and somehow familiar. Alpha 3, we have been waiting for Phoenix to return to the sky. We need to talk. Luna felt her blood turn cold as she realized that whatever was controlling those aircraft knew her call sign, knew her identity, and had apparently been waiting for her specifically to respond to their presence. Control Alpha 3. We have a situation that's going to require notification of the highest levels of command. These contacts know who I am, and they've been waiting for me specifically. Chen's voice came through tight with tension. Alpha 3, are you saying these aircraft came here looking for you? That's exactly what I'm saying, Control. And I think I'm about to find out why I've been hidden for the past 7 years. Luna prepared to follow the unknown aircraft to whatever destination they had in mind, knowing that the next few minutes would either answer questions that had haunted her for 7 years or create new mysteries that would reshape everything humanity thought it knew about the universe. Control, Phoenix is going dark. If I don't return, tell them the truth about who I really am. As Luna followed the 4 aircraft toward an uncertain destiny, Chin stood in the operations center trying to comprehend that one of history's greatest pilots had just emerged from 7 years of hiding to face a threat that defied all understanding of current technology and human capability. The desert sky held its secrets as Phoenix disappeared into legend once again, leaving behind only questions and the knowledge that some truths were more extraordinary than anyone had dared imagine.